You're a busy professional. You don't have time for fluff. You need strategies that work, and you need them fast. Welcome to Busy Pro Fast Wellness with me, your host, Alan Welch.
I overcame prison, maybe, but I put myself there. And they're not even hacks. Getting up in the morning and going outside for a walk is not a freaking hack. That is common sense. Supplements are supplements. They're not called reliances.
Welcome back to Busy Pro Fast Wellness, and I am genuinely, absolutely so excited to have Dylan Gemelli. You know, I've followed his work for such a long time now, and what's really stood out to me, Dylan, honestly, you speak with such integrity, and this is the first time I have said, just off camera, that I have not scripted anything in my introduction, so I'm just going to roll with this because I want to rock like you roll. So, for people meeting you for the first time, how would you describe what you are doing now? And by the way, welcome to the podcast.
It's all good, man. I appreciate it. I'm recovering from being sick all week, so if I sound a little stuffy or look like shit, it's because I've been sick all week. But regardless, I do my work and I work 7 days a week, sick or not. So, I mean, like I was telling you off camera, like I tell everybody on camera, I am the same guy you get, whether we're talking here, there, in person, if I'm at a convention. I am who I am. You get what you get. There is no differentiation. I might curse a little less when I'm in a professional setting, but other than that, I'm the same exact guy. I do God's work. I have no other purpose other than what I'm being told and led to do by the Holy Spirit. I have put a lot of time and effort into really mastering my craft, which is based around connecting the mind and the body to obtain full and total health alignment. And that's what I teach, but I also teach people how to overcome adversity. I do motivational talks. I talk a lot about the mistakes I've made to prevent others from making the same ones. And because I think that, and I've always felt this way, some of the best teachers have made the most mistakes. However, they don't make them twice. And they learn from them and they use those as fuel. And that's what I do. I take that both biblically and just in general in terms of you're taught to utilize the mistakes that you made. Don't dwell on them. Don't think about them, but use them. Use them, find good within them, use it to help yourself, to help others, and to grow. And that's what I do. And that's my purpose.
Yeah, and that's so evident from the work that you've done. I mean, what you're bringing in there, what you mentioned, just demonstrates that sense of humility as well, because I believe as you go through life, you meet these people and they don't really ever know when to say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, I screwed up, or all those kind of things. And that comes really shining through the content that you provide. And I would say that of everybody I've listened to, you do speak from the heart more than anybody I've ever come across in this whole field. And that's why I was so excited to have you on the show in the first place, because I really feel that, and regardless, and I know that you are obviously a very, very spiritual man. And that's that journey that you've undergone over this period of time. That's really what I'm interested. I'm interested in your kind of story, very much. When you look back, what part of your journey shaped you the most? If you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about your background, because it is one of the most colourful and enigmatic stories, definitely. And I've had some wonderful. All my guests have been brilliant. But your story is the most colourful that I've come across. So if you wouldn't mind divulging some of that, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a loaded question, and I'll unload on the details because I always tell people I don't recommend going to prison to learn how to fix your life and shape your life. But that's, what happened with me, and I'll get into how and why and what became of that. So I was a 4-sport athlete in high school and not a college basketball player. And, my dad coached me my whole life. My parents weren't rich by any stretch, but I had everything that I ever could want and need. You understand when you get older and you understand finance and concepts that they just drained and charged everything and did everything. And the stress and the positions that put them in. So when I say that my parents weren't well off, it doesn't mean I didn't have everything, because I most certainly did. And I was the only child, and very close with them, taught well, and brought up well. But that doesn't always translate, because, a lot of times people make mistakes. They do things and they say, well, it's the parenting, it reflects on the parenting. Well, for me, it was, no, Dylan needs to take accountability and responsibility. He got everything, but he turned into an asshole on his own. And that's what happened. It was me. And a lot of times people don't look in the mirror and take the accountability. They blame this, they blame that. There's always an excuse. There's a built-in excuse.
Yeah.
I don't operate that way. I sit here and I say, look, I overcame prison, maybe, but I put myself there. So do I deserve credit for getting through it? I don't know. Maybe some of the things I endured and I went through and I learned from and I teach people, yes. But this overcoming this and overcoming that, I don't like to do that, because I don't think it's right or fair, because I put myself there. So anyway, when I was playing college basketball, I lost 2 scholarships from injury. And so I didn't really know what I was doing at that point with my life. And I was, like a lot of people in their 20s, kind of partying, kind of doing whatever, not taking life super serious like I should. And I eventually started to look at acting and modeling. My mom had been pushing me in that direction. And for me, it was too feminine. Okay. I mean, it is what it is. I just wasn't into it. Then I started to look at it and I said, I love clothes. I love fashion. I love women, which is what I'm going to get to be around. I love fancy shit. And I want to live that life. I want to be a rock star.
Yeah.
And so eventually I'm going to cut through a lot of the other story there, but you go through training, they take you to a big competition. Well, the one I went to was called IMTA, which was where a lot of big name stars were found. I walk in there, dude, there's like 30, 40,000 people in there. And I ended up getting 5th place, which is like 4th runner up in my whole bracket of people my age, which was like 10,000 people. Signed a contract. Boom, go to Italy like 5-6 months later.
Wow.
And that's going from nothing
straight
to the pros, right? That's like going from high school to the NBA. No, not a lot of training, not a lot of know-how, not a lot of self-control by any stretch, not a lot of maturity. And so I go over there. It's not the life you think it is. It's not this glorious lifestyle. I'm there with 250 of the world's best looking, most professional male models in the world. I thought that was really hot shit when I was leaving to go over there. And then you get over there and you get humbled pretty fast, right? So
can imagine.
I got over there. I was there like 6 months doing the work, getting kind of more like the grunt work. And this is the whole schedule. Wake up, get on, get yourself ready, get on the subway or the bus, take it to the agency, get your call sheet, go around to auditions during the day, go to the gym, go home, shower, and go party. Okay. The only difference on the weekends is there's no agency and no getting ready. It's just party and sleep all day. And so anyway, I was spending triple, quadruple what I was bringing in. I came home and started to do some acting, got some auditions on some soap operas, started to get into that, bartending at night, partying all night. And I started to sell drugs because I could not keep up and I didn't know what to do. And so, that's not really the most safe and ideal longevity job path. Now, I will tell you this. I gained a ton of smarts in ways that have helped me now to negotiate contracts, to be business savvy, and to be aware of things around me.
Wow.
But of course, there's other ways to go about that. Anyway, I eventually got caught. I got a 15-year prison sentence when I was 28 years old. And I'm 43 right now. So basically what happened was I got the sentence. My parents, once again, drained their accounts, got me the best attorney in the state. He got me a deal. I did not go to prison originally. What I got was a suspended sentence, meaning they put you on probation. If you screw up, they can give you back the 15 years.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I think you can tell by me, chances are high I'm going to screw up. So I screwed up once. I screwed up twice. I screwed up the third time. They kept putting me in jail, giving me, warnings. Third time, they said, you don't get it. Goodbye. Here's your 15-year sentence. So I ended up doing 2 years of that 15 and got out on parole. I was in Iowa at the time. So like you're getting a day and a half per day you're in there. And I did a bunch of things with the drug treatments and everything that got me out early.
Yeah. Yeah, you got good behavior.
Yeah, I got a ton of good behavior. Counselors went to bat for me. My mom and dad knew some people that were helping, that were in the law areas in Iowa that were certainly putting in good words for me. They can't pull you out of prison, but they were doing whatever they could. So I got paroled to Maui because my parents moved there. So I went from this dark hellhole to Maui overnight, right? 5 years parole, did 1, got released on good behavior again. Now, that's where I met my wife, and that's also where I started to study all of the things that got me going in the direction I was going. I was really getting more into bodybuilding and supplements, but I was studying, personal training. I became a certified personal trainer, NASM. I had already done physiology and studied all of the intricacies of biomechanics and the muscles, and I got into these bodybuilding forums and I started to study steroids because I was really fascinated during the baseball era. And then I discovered peptides, discovered SARMs. And so they came to me and said, we want to put you on YouTube. Nobody's discussing all of these things and we're going to make you a star. And I immediately said, well, shit, I just got out of trouble. I can't go talk about illegal steroids and everything. But then I found you can talk about it. I'm not selling it. I'm not involved. I'm just talking about it. You can talk about it on there. People were, doing it in a few channels, but not many, not the way I was. So within a couple of years, I had millions of subscribers, man. I blew up so quick. Well, about 3-4 years into this? No, actually 5 years into it, my channel got shut down. Absolutely devastating. So I had to start from scratch again. Started a new channel.
Sorry, why did it get shut down? Do you mind divulging that?
The industry itself is a very dirty industry. There's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of sabotaging. There's a lot of backstabbing. And there's a lot of people that are willing to do whatever it takes to shut people up that may be taking business from them, that may be putting out words they don't agree with. And so I was being attacked left and right from multitudes of angles for a lot of things I was saying and doing. And hey, I take responsibility. I wasn't the best guy at the time either. I was fueling the fire. I was arguing with people and talking shit that I shouldn't have been. I shouldn't have been shut down, but especially when at the time I got shut down, there were hundreds of channels talking about what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I got targeted, which...
Well, you were successful, I guess. You had a high viewership, so therefore they're going to target you. If you had like 100 subscribers, it wouldn't happen. You would be able to carry on, I guess.
No, it would be non-existent. And look, ultimately, was I put here to talk about steroids and things like that? No. Listen, man. This is once again where I was a jerk because I was telling myself, "Oh, you're doing such good work because you're discussing side effects and things that could hurt people," but I was still telling people how to use them. They still hurt you if you use them.
Right, yeah.
I was keeping people safe, doing it safer, but I'm talking about illegal things that can still do you harm. And I was coaching bodybuilders and, these things, well, yeah, it's good to teach people how to not just absolutely kill themselves because that's what they were doing. I was still contributing to people that were doing harm to themselves. Even if my heart was in the right place, it doesn't matter, man.
You sounded as though you're too hard on yourself. I mean, there should be more compassion here because, as you say, you had the right intention. Your heart was in the right place. I know that you've come on in leaps and bounds and your whole angle has changed completely in terms of the health. I realize that, which we'll get onto. But obviously, what you were doing at the time, you obviously, in hindsight, it's all well to say all these things. But at the time, as far as you were concerned, you were mitigating all the downsides as much as you possibly could with people anyway. So I wouldn't be too hard on yourself on that, really. Honestly.
I do think that I did save a lot of people from trouble or killing themselves early. I guarantee you I did that because a lot of young bodybuilders were dying from steroid abuse, and I was speaking out, which was pissing a lot of people off too in that industry,
Okay.
and the manner that I was speaking out against certain things. But like I said, it wasn't what I was put here to do.
No, okay.
And so anyway, I started another channel, built it up, got shut down again in the COVID time. Now, I wasn't talking about anything COVID related at the time, like I do now, but they were looking for people that were doing anything off the wall at the time. And when I say off the wall, pushing the envelope. But remember now, I discovered and was talking about peptides. What are we in 2026 now? So 14 years ago, when people really started talking about them in 21, 22. So I had a really big, heads up there, and the learning curve was less for me. So what I did was shift to building my Instagram. Long story short, I got my opportunity in 2024 to speak at the Mr. Olympia with doctors, practitioners, like this for me. And then it's like the influencer guy, which I hate being called, by the way. I'm a person of influence. I'm not an influencer. I'm not making TikTok joints and stuff like that. But that was my shining moment because I got up there and I really held my own, did very, very well. Now, mind you, I went from not having anything going at that time but my normal YouTube stuff to, okay, you got invited to speak at the Mr. Olympia. Then I got invited to co-host with, her name was Monica Brandt. She was a former Miss Olympia. So I co-hosted with her at the Mr. Olympia on her podcast. Well, she was being sponsored by a company called STEM Regen, who just happens to be one of the most prominent companies in the whole entire biohacking sphere.
Okay.
So they came and watched me speak, when they were there, and they were listening to me on the show, and I was talking to them. They loved what I was doing. I absolutely adore them to this day. So what happened was I got all these contacts from all the work I did there, and I was coming home and I was all amped up like, yeah, here we go. This is it. This is what I've been waiting for the last decade. What do you know it? I got home and got COVID like that. Sick in bed, couldn't move. But this is around the time when I was giving it to God, and I was saying, look, I don't know your reason for this. I have no answer, but there has to be a good one. I'm going to try my hardest instead of sitting here and doing my normal complaining and bitching and pouting on woe is me. Tell me what your will is here, because I don't get it. I'm lost, but I'm going to try. And I was laying in bed, man, and I said, you know what? I can't move. I can't do anything. I'm toast. So I'm going to research this STEM Regen and start looking at them. And then I discovered biohacking. Then I start digging deeper. I'm about 3-4 hours in bed, not moving, not even to go to the bathroom, just because I'm so, with COVID, it'll drain you. I called my wife in and I said, you're going to just have to trust me. I've never led you wrong with things that I've done. I may have been pushing things a little bit, but trust me. And she trusted me. And here we are about a year later. My podcast has hit #1 in multiple areas on Apple and health and fitness, alternative health. And I feel that I've made a pretty damn strong impact in that field. But that was where I was meant to be. This is what I was meant to do. I was meant to learn the things I'm learning and to get in front of people and discuss what I'm discussing. Because now I'm changing lives. Now I'm making an impact, and I've barely scratched the surface here, dude. Like I'm not in front of a fraction of the people that I'm going to be because I'm determined, and I know for sure. I'm not sitting here going, what am I supposed to do, or convincing myself I'm doing something that I'm supposed to be doing. Now I just know.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And
that's a great story. That I love the idea that you were, the seminal moment was when you had COVID in bed, and that was what caused you to do that research at that moment into cellular health. And obviously, and since then, it's incredible in 1 year or whatever it is, just to make that massive leap and progress so far, and to be sure, and you can see the results of what happened from that moment. So I love that story. It's really fantastic.
Oh, it's funny because I've never been like this big scrolling through social media guy. I use it for work or whatever. And that was the day where I said, you know what? All I'm going to do is just do this. And listen, man, I do everything on my own. I reached out. I found these people. My first podcast guest was former UFC champion Misha Tate, and I've gone down the line and done this on my own. And people ask me, what's your secret? How do you do this? How do you get people to talk to you? There is no secret. There is no secret. It's God gives you abilities and he gives you certain traits and characteristics. And once you figure it out and you use it the way it was intended to be used, you will be unstoppable in what you were meant to do. And two, I can't teach people what I do, just like whatever you do personally, you can't teach it. You can explain it, but you can't make somebody become who you are, what you do. I'm good at a few things. I suck at 1,000 things. Or I know what I'm good at and I stay there.
Yeah. But the thing is that what you've just explained then, you can be a source, a font of inspiration, can't you? Just by your whole demeanor, the way that you act, the way that you are, the way that you can influence people, even if it isn't in an indirect way, is evident, and that's what comes through from all the work that you're doing. And is that unscripted, that way that you have in order to communicate your message so easily. And it's like, have you studied some sort of speech classes or something? You mentioned acting earlier on, because that unscripted style that comes right through, and it's like it's so natural. And so many people, I mean, me included to some extent, I haven't got necessarily the confidence to do that without having a script. If I'm going to do a solo episode, I'm not going to script it. I'm not one to script word for word, but I'll have more or less the whole thing mapped out. I haven't really got that flair or confidence to do that, but you just seem to be able to just flow into that. So that in itself can be an inspiration for other people. Those kind of things that can rub off without really, you don't have to have, a set structure of how you're teaching. I'm a teacher by profession. I mean, I studied to teach with all the qualifications. And yet so many of my peers and colleagues over the years wouldn't have that ability to do that off-piece. So, it's something which is natural. And sometimes you meet people in life and you think, wow, you would have been amazing at that profession. And I've met people that have no qualification, nothing whatsoever. I think you would have made an amazing teacher. You just have that authority. You can just, you can shut the kids up, whatever, or and just bring everybody to your attention. So you obviously have something that enables you to do that.
You know how a lot of times people that give a speech or they do or speak in front of people, they're like nervous before and they get this like really nervous energy. You feel that rapid heartbeat and those nerves and everything. You know what, man? Like when I know I have to speak, I get amped. Like I'm jazzed, I'm jacked, I'm excited. I'm just like, let's do this. Put me up wherever you want. A lot of these like companies that I do stuff with and work with, and they're like, well, what can you do? And da-da-da-da-da. And I go to their booths or whatever, and I'll go, give me that shit. Let's record right now, and I'll show you what I can do. And they're just like looking at me, and I don't even know anything about the product or anything, but I mean, you watch and you listen, and it's like, wow. But like I said, look, when I was a kid, my mom said that like they'd listen to me. I'd be outside playing basketball in the driveway, commentating the whole time, talking. I'd be playing with wrestling figures or action figures, commentating and talking. I don't know. I didn't go through some specific training or coaching or any of that. I get a lot of these PR places, they send me these scripts. A lot of companies I work for send me these scripts, and I'll say, hey, you want to send me some talking points? Cool, because that'll help me kind of know the products or know the people.
Yeah.
But I laugh and I'm like, I always tell my wife, I'm like, look at this shit. And I just throw it to the side. I said, just hit record and let's roll.
I love it. I love that. I mean, as a performer, because I'm a trumpet player, so I performed stage and that sort of thing. That's a really good lesson. That's because whether it's speaking or whether it's performing, I always get the jitters. I mean, I normally calm down, and even before this podcast with you, I was really quite nervous because, you're so big in this space. And I don't feel nervous once I start normally. I feel much more at ease and much more relaxed. But beforehand, prior to any of these types of events, whatever the field might be, I will have those nerves. Like the vast majority of us do. We are fallible, we're human. Yeah, I as you are, of course, but you just seem to have missed that step, which is brilliant. It really is. Listen, I think we ought to get into something to do with your, because I've got a question here, which from what changed when you moved from bodybuilding and longevity and cellular health and biohacking. From you made that transition from the bodybuilding into that area, that field, and because that longevity field is fascinating for me. I interviewed somebody in that field not that long ago, and I learned so much. So I'm also very interested to know about that.
You know what's wild, man? When I was in school and when I was younger, I was excellent at math, was my favorite subject, which most people hate. And then I was very good at English because my mom was an English teacher, so she drilled everything into me, like to the highest level and extent. It doesn't mean it was my favorite class, but I was damn good at it because I was like verbally abused in a funny way. But and when I say that jokingly, but she was very difficult. Even now when I text her, she'll do these like corrections if I'm doing something really fast. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, really, mom, but so biology and science were the two that I despised. I just, aside from astronomy, which I loved, I hated everything science. In fact, in college, I had to go take biology on its own during the summer because I couldn't take it with my other courses because I despised it so much I knew I couldn't pass it. Now, everything that I do, everything that I study, everything that I love and am passionate about, like revolves around science and health and biology, and I cannot get enough of it. And I think this is a twofold piece here. One, I also used to have this thing in my head that science went against God and everything. In reality, it's actually the most beautiful aspect, because if you study biology, you study science, and you learn the intricacies of our body, how we're made up, how our body functions, all of these intricate pieces that go together that have to function, and you realize that God took so much time to create this and put this together and make this magnificent human being that we are structurally and internally, and the art and the amount of precision that was put into this, and you go, holy shit. Because everything in the Bible, you have to understand when you read, there's a lot of metaphor. And when it's like, oh, God breathed and everything just existed. No, he had to do this. It took the 7-day period in the Bible to do it. So when he says, he breathed and this stuff just appeared, you think that happened in 30 seconds? Like there was thought, precision, and art done with us. So learning about our structure and the way we're made up cellularly, the physiology and anatomy of that, and then understanding how our mind works and what goes into just a thought or a function and the control that like your vagus nerve has over your whole system and the body. See, I was thinking this whole time, oh, well, the fitness and the nutrition and I studied that so long, and I never gave the time and the study and the importance to all the structure and how we work and function, which is actually the most important. I cannot get enough of this. When I got into the biohacking space, the first company that I approached myself was called Timeline, which is still my partner to this day.
Yeah.
And the whole idea and concept there is stimulating mitophagy. It's mitochondrial health. So you know what I did? I went to Harvard at night and studied cellular and mitochondrial biology and took night classes there. And then I also became a certified cellular health coach.
Nice.
So that's what I did there.
That must be fascinating, yeah, for sure.
Oh, it is the most fascinating stuff, and I like I said, I don't live in regret, but damn it, I wish I would have went back and enjoyed that more when I was a kid and made that more of a career. But that wasn't my path or the time for me to learn and understand that. It was when it happened, it happened for a reason. But man, I did miss out on some cool types of science I could have been studying, but I do study it now intricately.
Brilliant and fantastic. And I mean that for me, because obviously, if you take the example of that you went through with the bodybuilding, I just tend to think of that as something which is a very exterior. You mentioned earlier on about your modeling, etc. So you have that exterior. You were only really thinking about that. Whereas his stuff, the longevity, the cellular health, and the biohacking, that is really what we would be going on inside the body and not thinking about. Yeah, it's not aesthetics as such. It really is genuinely planting the seeds that you will need for that longevity, for that length, the quality of life that you can lead up until you're a centenarian, whatever. As long as you have that quality, then, because I've talked to people about various characters that I come into contact with who have made it to that point in their life, and they are still living with that quality of mind. The mind and the body having that focus is so important. So that's great that you're obviously investigating all of that and you've gone into that and you're very strong in that particular field. Is there any particular advice that you could give to anybody in this field of cellular health and biohacking? Do you have one sort of favorite thing that you will do on a day-to-day basis?
Let me
Okay.
Yeah, let me start this first.
Okay.
The term biohacking. I like to say it. I think it's always a cool term, but people misconstrue and misunderstand what even that is, and people have,
like me.
and rightfully so, by the way, because there's so many multitudes of things that go on there. What is it? What really is it? You know what it is? In very short order, it's you understanding that you need to take care of yourself and be in control of your own health and look for alternative methodologies and ways that work for you, because we're all different. I could look, man, I can sit here and give you every protocol under the sun and do this, do that, but that does not necessarily mean that it's perfect for you functionally. You could have, like, for example, some people don't do well with carbohydrates. Some people need more because of their bodybuilding or their training or whatever. Some people can tolerate certain types of foods, others can't. Some medications work for some should never be near them. Sometimes people can't do some of the hacks, and they're not even hacks. Getting up and getting in the morning and going outside for a walk is not a freaking hack. That is common sense.
Yeah.
It just needs to be put into someone's head that this is very healthy and you should be doing this. Listen,
Nice.
basic stuff. Let's just start with basic stuff. Move every day, walk every day. I don't have this magical 10,000 step number that everybody likes to throw out there, but get your ass outside and move. Move multiple times a day. Take a morning walk for a few reasons. One, because you need the movement. Two, because you need sunlight every day. And I'm not saying take in absorbent amounts of sun. And see, this is the way the world works now, brother. You have to, like, when you say something, you have to cover your ass on both ends of the spectrum. Because otherwise, I thought the sun was bad, or the sun's going to kill you. No, the sun's not going to kill you. It's not. I'm not saying go out there for 3 hours a day and then develop all kinds of skin issues. I'm saying get out there and get some sunlight 20, 30 minutes a day, right? Move. Okay, these are normal things. But also, look, I pray every day. If you're not good with that, do something else spiritually. Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not
I'm with you. Yeah.
I'm not trying to be the pusher man here, and if you don't like it, well, I'm not here to argue about it. I'm just telling you, do something spiritually, man. Like, people convolute everything and try to make shit like so personal or so angry or whatever. Just fucking do something. Just go do something that's going to help you spiritually, that's going to help you move, and that's going to be good for your body, and stop making excuses or reasons to argue or whatever else, and grow up. Stop the immature stuff, stop all the bullshit, and just listen and take it for what it is. It's simple guidance. You don't have to spend $10,000 on all these gadgets and these things that people come out with in biohacking. Are there some good things out there that we could implement? Absolutely, man. Some things like the red light therapy, that's great. But if you can't afford a red light or whatever, don't think you have to do that. But it would be nice to have. There's hydrogen inhalation systems. I got sent one from a good friend the other day. It's great to have. There's a lot of benefit to it. Do you need to go drop 10, 20 grand in it? No. Is there other things you could do? Sure. But there are a lot of valid things out there, but there's a lot of things that I see. This is what upsets me, because in this biohacking space, we're supposed to be working for the common good of everybody else and helping people. But there's always people that come in to take advantage, and there's people that put out products they know don't necessarily do what they say or work like they say,
Yeah.
or that you don't need. And look, there's a lot of options that are nice luxuries to have if you can afford them. I'd say this: really prioritize things on your money. When it comes to what you're eating, put the best food in your system. If you say, I agree, listen, I don't disagree that eating healthy costs more. We know this. But then
Yeah.
don't spend money on some other stuff that you can avoid, and really prioritize what you put in your body.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love all this because you're just going straight, very direct to the point, and it's true. There is a lot of conjecture about what you should do, and people come out with this. There are certain protocols, but it is the essentials, and it's those sorts of things that you should be prioritizing. And even when I interviewed somebody a way back, who was, I don't know if it's very professional to mention names of previous podcasters, but I will. The Fully Alive podcast was really, really fantastic. Jurek. I'm sorry, I forgot his first name. It's awful, isn't it? That's very unprofessional. But he was talking about all these different these devices, etc. But he did say, he made the point that 90% of everything that we do are the essentials. It is the nutrition. It is the sleep. It is having that sort of social community with other people. That is 90%. Once you have all of these extra things that you can do, all these different types of devices that you can buy, they are the sort of 10% extra that you can add on if you want. But the essentials are there. Those three pillars of nutrition, sleep and exercise are really the most fundamental factors. And nothing needs to be complicated, as you say. Just get out there, do that 15-minute walk in the mornings, get some sunlight. These are very important factors. And I love the fact that you're so direct with that. That's brilliant. And that is one of the things that I'm trying to push as well in a myriad of different ways, with my podcast, as well as other things that you've already alluded to with the spirituality side of it. I might not talk about the actual essentials of prayer, but I would talk about visualization and meditation and being, going inside yourself, whatever, chanting, for example, whatever would work for you, or praying. All of these things are very, very useful factors that can actually help us to lead a more wholesome existence, and therefore add years of quality years to our lives in the long term. Because one of the biggest factors is stress. And that's one of the things that, stress, once you get stressed, and how do you get out? How do you escape from that stress? So these are great factors. I just love that straight down the line attitude. That's great. Thank you, Dylan.
But it's just, everybody always wants to do all this nonsensical stuff with not taking accountability and all this, all that. Just shut up and listen and just do the stuff. Like, it's very simple. You don't have to make something out of nothing every time just for the sake of doing it. Think about this. See, I hold a very, very, very high value on time because I lost enough to know, right? And when you lose that time, you develop what's called appreciation and understanding for what you gave away that you can't have back. And as we get older, it really hits us when certain things happen. But you realize your mortality, and you realize the things going on around you that you are, I realized very quickly you're not invincible going to prison, but sometimes, I was still young. You start to see things happen to people around you. You start to gain a better understanding. You see things happen to yourself, and you realize, like, what is this? Now, granted, I learned a lot of this through reading the Bible, study and everything, but you do learn it through everyday life as well. What are we doing here? Like, what is the point to ever, in A, holding a grudge, B, and hating somebody because of whatever they say or do? I disagree with people all the time. I ask you this. Do you always agree with your mom or your dad or your wife or your kids or everything else? Hell no. Are you sitting there hating them and doing this and that? Grow up. If you don't want to be around somebody, don't. If you have something to do in your free time, don't spend it online talking shit behind a keyboard. You know what I mean? Don't do that. use that time. Shit, go play video game. Just use it better. Do something positive. Do something fun. Do something that's going to keep your mind in a good state. Because let me tell you this, man, if you go around doing all this hateful stuff and everything, that is unhealthy on you internally. I bet you anything, the people that do that, you go run a blood panel, they got high inflammation, their markers are probably all over the place. They probably got a lot of stuff internally going on, physically and mentally, that are off. And they're unhappy because they're unhealthy.
I couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. You really summed that up so well. Brilliant. I do have another question for you, because obviously I'm aiming at this at busy professionals, and a lot of what you said is exceptionally relevant in kind of a broad, holistic sense. But do you have 2 or 3 high return on investment habits that you could suggest for everyday people or busy professionals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One is moving after you eat. Very important. Like after you have a meal, to go move. I used to always just take my wife for a walk after we have dinner or whatever. Now I bought us bikes, like bicycles, to go outside. So I as soon as I get done eating, I throw everything in the sink. We clean it up when we get home, and we get out and go ride like 20 minutes. Keep the movement after you're eating. This is very simple stuff. Don't go like sit down and lay down, because that's what it's easy to do that. You know, you eat, you're full, you're happy. Don't do that. Don't get out and move around. Prioritize sleep. Let me tell you this. I have been horrible at this for so many years, and I can tell you it's had a lasting effect on me in multitudes of areas of my health, as well as my cognitive function and ability to stay sharp. And understanding the need and necessity for rest, which I'm being a hypocrite right now because I've been sick and I snuck in and did cardio a couple days, but I did sleep. And I did, and prioritizing rest, because you can't recover. You'll like, even for, let's just drop the normalcy here on what I'm talking about, your inability to burn fat, because that'll happen if you don't sleep enough. Inflammation can rise, higher cortisol levels. But let's say you're training or whatever, all the training you're doing is going to waste. You can't grow, you don't recover. You know what I mean? So there's multitudes and facets here. Prioritize sleep, and also at least resting a little bit. It's very, very, very important.
Yeah, good. Yeah. I mean, those 2 things you just mentioned anyway, many of us will know them, but do we action them? That's the question. Because obviously the sleep one, and I haven't, that habit of moving after I have a meal, I haven't formed that habit yet. Although I know it and I'm conscious of it, I've started doing it, just walking around on the terrace here that I have in my apartment. But it's something, and my wife said, why are you walking around the terrace? I said, well, you know, it's quite good for digestion to do that. I could actually go outside and do it, but it's just quicker. And it's not a habit I've formed yet, but I know that as a habit I will form for sure. And it's a question of doing that over and over again, and then it becomes ingrained. Just like my morning exercise is totally ingrained. I've been doing that for, since COVID started, when we all were forced to be incarcerated in our homes. And so I was thinking, what?
Oh, dogs.
Let's not go down the COVID route. I think we both have exactly the same idea. I'm with you on that, Dylan. I know your history and your background, and I'm exactly the same. And anyway. So
let me just say this. I'm going to say one thing on that, and one idea. And maybe we won't go back near, because I have one more habit or thing that I want to make a point of. But just think about this for 1 second, everybody listening, and just think about rationally thinking about this. When COVID magically stopped occurring, if you were on an airplane eating, or be in a restaurant eating, or whatnot, it just magically stopped. You were safe in a safe haven around everybody and their mother, as long as you were at that table eating without a mask on. But you got to put that sucker back on as soon as you go to the bathroom or go anywhere. Now, ask yourself, anybody with a rational, functioning brain cell, how that sounds. Okay, we'll move on.
No, I mean, obviously, I'm aware of all of that, and I've seen all the videos are hilarious on all of these things.
The other one that killed me was when they had those little curfews, like COVID gets worse after 8 or 9 o'clock. Let me tell you, for some reason, it's even worse after 9 p.m. But anyway, one thing I want to point out is supplements are supplements. They're there to supplement.
Okay.
You don't be reliant on those like people that rely on all these extra calories from protein powders, or people that try to get all their vitamins and minerals from strictly supplements. Yes, you need those. Yes, there's certain things you can't get enough of from food, but don't be totally reliant on those. Get the things first through like your meals and the sunlight and things like that. And then utilize those for what they are. The term supplement is there for a purpose and a reason. It's not they're not called reliances. They're called supplements. Right?
That's a good point. I mean, I've always been somebody who has taken supplements, not because as a sort of, as a safety guard more than anything else. So, there are 3, but I probably take 7 or 8 a day now, but there are 3 that I would never miss. And that is C, D, and zinc. Those 3, and I will have my glucosamine, and I have my aloe vera. These are extra ones. I don't need them. Quercetin as well is a great one. But and I will eat a lot of turmeric with my meals, and I had that anti-inflammation. So these things they are just there, but they're automatically there, and I've just always had them. I may not need them all, but I think I do need the C, D, and even I thought, and it's only 3 or 4 years ago, I thought that D wasn't there. I live in Spain, I don't know. I got sunshine all the time, but it's quite good just to top up when you get to a certain age. When you get to my age. And because I'm an old badass now these days.
No, listen, I'm one of the biggest supplement proponents on the planet, but people become reliant on them to cover their bases, and you don't want to do that. Use them for what they are.
Yeah, exactly. And you should be eating well, and you should be able to get all of this stuff anyway.
That's the most important. Is always try first to get what you can through foods. Some days you can't, and some things you still need that you can't just draw enough from foods or even get from foods. But you always go there first.
Yeah, for sure. Couldn't agree with you more on that one. Great. There's something, because obviously your story of it, the way that you've evolved, and you've gone from really the dark times, and you've managed to come out into the light. Obviously with your spirituality and your with help of God as well. And so you've gone from this idea into service, really. So now that you've come to this point of real positivity and helping other people, what does that service mean to you? And can you describe the importance of that service, if that's possible?
So many years I lived for Dylan first. I remember where I was sitting. I remember the conversation. I remember the time of day. I remember it all. I was in prison. I was on the payphone. My mom loaded up my account so I could call her every day, because a 20-minute phone call literally cost like $50 or $40. And that was the max you could do at a time. And it was so expensive. And she literally had money in there every day for me to call her. And this conversation of me whining and moaning about being strip searched and being treated like shit and everything, and how miserable I am, and woe is me. And the words, I can tell you word for word what was said. I can tell you how I felt. I can tell you the whole thing. It was, are you really that selfish that you only think about you and not the people that care about you, that are worried about you every single day of the week? Do you not think about what you've done to us, and also the people I've let down and disappointed me, that invested a lot of time and effort into? Are you that selfish? And I just sat there, man, and I didn't say a word. Normally, I'm never at a loss for words, as you can hear. And I was at a very large loss of words. And then she said, and this is when I broke down, were me and your dad really that bad of parents? And I started to have tears roll down my eyes. And obviously I wanted to be careful, because I didn't want people in there seeing me crying. And that's when I finally first took accountability, when I said, no, this was nothing you did. It was all me. I did this. This was my fault. There was nothing you could have done to prevent this, period. I made the decisions I made. I made the choices that I made, and this is on me and only me. And that's when that was my first step to learning accountability, was right then and there.
Right.
Doesn't mean that I was good at it at the time, but that was the first thing that triggered it to me to learn. So that's what's helped me. But when I became a God first person, which was only a few years ago, I've always been spiritual, but putting God first ahead of else. That includes all of your loved ones. That includes everything, because none of them would be here, or I wouldn't have them if it wasn't for him. So you go there first, because you are nothing and you have nothing without him. He gave
Yeah.
me everything that I have, and so I will never forget that, and I will always appreciate that. And then you learn and understand that you are supposed to be living for others. You are supposed to treat others as you want to be treated, and you are supposed to love everybody. It doesn't mean you're going to agree with them, doesn't mean you got to hang out with them all day, doesn't mean that you need to talk to them, but you still need to treat people well. And
Yeah.
so my goal is, well, the abilities that I have were given to me for a specific purpose. Instead of me worrying constantly, and mind you, we all have to make money and revolve around money and what we do, but instead of me living for money, for living for goods and all of this shit that never made me happy that I accumulated, why don't I do what I was intended to do, live for God, see how that feels for a while, and everything I need will be given to me because I got to be able to do what I'm doing. So he's going to take care of me to do what I need to do, right? I can't have a platform and do this if I'm not making some sort of income to pay for the stuff that I do, but I don't need to be I got to the point where all I ever cared about was making more and more and more and more and more and more and more. But then you spend more and more and more and you accumulate a bunch of shit that doesn't mean anything that you don't really even use or care about.
Yeah.
Now I have the ability to take care of everything I need to do for everybody that's dependent upon me and reliant upon me. I can take care of my family, be happy. And when we want to do something nice, it's great, but I don't just abuse it. I try to put everything into what I'm doing. And I want to see people smile. I don't listen, man. I don't need any human to tell me, "Oh, you're great. Oh, you did great." I just want you to tell me I impacted you in a positive way. I don't need one accolade. I don't need a fucking pat on the back. I don't need any of that. Maybe a thank you here and there is great, but just to know that I made an impact and it resonates and something I said or did encouraged or helped somebody is what I want and what I desire.
Yeah.
And like, the companies I work for, I want to build them because I believe in them and I think they're trying to make an impact. I want to be an arbiter of truth and a beacon of light for people. And if I am doing that, then I am thrilled upon end.
Brilliant.
I don't need any of that other shit. I don't care. I don't need awards. I don't need accolades. I don't need any of it because at the end of the day, it makes you feel good for a few minutes and it does nothing for you later in life. What does something is the impact that I make on somebody and the change and the smile that I see from somebody, even on a morning walk. When I'm out there and I just smile at somebody and I see the smile back, they don't know me and I don't know them, and that's fine. But I know that one smile or one hello or one acknowledgement can actually make a major difference for somebody.
Yeah.
And it can. That's what I care about, man. That's where I'm at. And I think that's where I'm the happiest that I've been.
Brilliant. No, it's a lovely sort of, breakdown of all that. And it is true, isn't it? I mean, that one smile, even when you have a little tiny chat with somebody in a village, we were out cycling, my wife and I were, and some old boy comes along and just, he wants to sort of exchange a few pleasantries, etc. And it's just so lovely to have that interaction. It really is. That just lights up your day. Have that social connection, or even, as you say, just a smile, at somebody in the shop, whatever. When you're out, go to the supermarket, it makes a world of difference. And I love all this. I love your unfiltered, style. It's brilliant. It really is.
Started what I curse, man, but I get into what I'm saying, so I apologize. I'm Italian, dude.
No.
That was my excuse.
All cursing is welcome within that kind of, like, if it's if you're animated and everything else, and we're not like we're not going to get banned off YouTube for that. Anyway, no,
and like I was telling you, man, look, I got a lot of followers. Great.
Yes.
People that follow and listen. The great thing is I'm making an impact, but that doesn't make me any better or special. It makes me good at what I do.
Yeah.
I can't do so many things, man, and that's fine because I don't worry about it because I know somebody that does that can help me. I am not brilliant. I'm brilliant because of the people that I hang out with and associate with that help me to become smarter.
Yeah.
Okay? I am like you, like the next person that's watching, the next person that's watching, the next person. We all get up in the morning. We all feel things. We all have emotions. We all have to do certain things every day. We all have to breathe air and eat food. All these people that make you go through 75,000 people to talk to them, that want $100 to talk to you, that want this and that and this and that. Man, I'm sorry, because some of them are my friends that I talk to, but they wouldn't talk to me if I wasn't at the stature I'm at. I don't like that. I don't like that. Look, if you are too busy because you're booked and whatever, I get it. And you got to get paid for what you do. I get it.
Yeah.
But man, some of this shit, I always tell people, they'll be like, well, who's your team? Who do I got to go through? And I go, you go through me. Just fucking email me and text me.
Yeah.
Unless I just don't want to talk or whatever. All of this, what people become and this facade and people that act like their life is what it's not on social media. Dude, you see my posts and my stuff, you're getting my life or what I do. And
Yeah.
I live in the real world in reality. And so I try to be as approachable and as cool.
And you were. I mean, that's evident from the email exchanges that I had with you earlier on a couple of months ago when I was arranging all of this. And it was it's just wonderful to have that contact with you. It was true that you're a real person, that you have that genuine spirit and indeed integrity. Because I heard you talk on podcasts, but you say, if I can't do it, I won't do it. I'm not going to say, I'm not one of those people that's going to back down. And I had a guest who third time, he was big, but he just didn't turn up. Like, a third time, it was like, oh, that's it. I'm just not bothering anymore. And that was just dreadful, really. It's so disrespectful, honestly. And it's a great disappointment to have that. So you think, really, people?
Yeah,
that's you had that personal side. And you were, you can tell just by the communication that you were. And I think you missed the first email I wrote to you, and you were so apologetic. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. And it was just, I must have just missed that one as it came through because you hadn't responded because you genuinely hadn't looked at it. You were very apologetic about that.
I don't like that. Yeah.
That adds to your integrity, really. That this is all part of your character. So that is such an important factor to have, is to be genuine, it's to be authentic. And you can see that that's there. And I just feel that it's the most important thing, really, isn't it? To have that connection or authenticity, to be genuine and not to let people down. And
no, I always say I do my damnedest. If I say I'm going to do it, man, there's got to be a very, 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 very good reason why I could do it. Things happen in life, they do, but you can control so much if you just try and want to. There's all kinds of days where I'd feel like, man, I don't want to do this today, but I will always do it, because I said I would.
Yeah. I mean, or you've said absolutely something really bad's happened and then you say, can we reschedule? That's absolutely fine. But you've come on today and you've said, I'm below par health-wise, and you've been obviously run through the mill at the moment with your health, and you still came on to the show. So thank you so much for that. And that's great.
I mean, unless I was just bedridden, I can get up and get in here and do something. And I don't ever want to be that guy ever. So I enjoyed it, and I'm glad we did it. And I think you're great, man. And I'm happy to contribute in any way that I can.
Brilliant. I really appreciate it. That's a really brilliant and powerful place to leave the podcast for today, Dylan. Thank you for your time and all the work that you're doing. And I really appreciate you coming on the show. And I know that a lot of what you said today will have an impact on many people. So I appreciate that.
I hope so.
So thank you so much. And I will bid you farewell. Thank you. And you did. Thank you, Dylan. Cheers. All right. Bye-bye. Bye. Now, what really stood out to me today was ownership. When mentioning prison, Dylan says, I put myself there. Now, that's not an easy sentence to say, but it's a powerful one. And beyond the story, beyond the adversity, what Dylan kept returning to was simplicity. Move every day. Get outside. Sleep properly. Eat real food. Stop overcomplicating what doesn't need to be complicated. In a world that constantly sells us gadgets, hacks and quick fixes, maybe the real work is just consistent action. If this episode resonated, don't take many lessons from it. Take just one and apply it this week. That's how your momentum builds. Thank you for listening to Busy Pro Fast Wellness. Until next week, goodbye for now.